Hello and welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm Gareth Vaughan, sitting in today for Bernard Hickey with 90 seconds at 9 a.m, brought to you in association with the BNZ. We start this morning with news that Cabinet is today expected to approve legislation aimed at fast-tracking reconstruction work in Canterbury after the big September the 4th earthquake. Ministers will brief Cabinet colleagues on implications for their portfolios of the earthquake. Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee says Cabinet will then consider temporary emergency legislation to help clear the way for much-needed reconstruction work. This will include repairing the sewage system. Parliament is expected to sit under urgency tomorrow to consider the legislation. Over the weekend overseas, the Basel Committee on Global Banking Supervision has decided to introduce new rules and ratios described as the strictest since countries teamed up to regulate the global banking system back in 1974. The regulators from 27 countries, including Australia, have decided that banks must double their capital requirements over the next 8 years as the new rules are introduced following the global financial crisis. Lenders will be forced to have common equity equal to at least 4.5% of assets, weighted according to their risk. Regulators will introduce an additional capital buffer of 2.5% to withstand future stress. Banks that fail to meet the second buffer won't be allowed to pay dividends to their shareholders, although they won't be forced to raise cash. Critics have raised concerns that the new rules will force up borrowing costs for customers and curb lending just as the global economic recovery is struggling to get going. Back in New Zealand, the Sunday Star Times reported that a group of disgruntled Hanover Finance debenture investors is considering mounting a legal challenge to last December's deal that saw Allied Farmers swap its shares for their debentures. The investors have hired Auckland barrister Tim Rainey to evaluate legal options and to investigate whether any misrepresentations occurred both in the prospectus presented to Hanover debenture holders and to statements made on investor roadshows. Hanover's loan and property book, remember, was valued at $396.2 million in that deal, and it's now valued at just $94.3 million. Well, I'm Gareth Vaughan from interest.co.nz, and that's 90 at 9 in association with the BNZ.